It's Melissa Carter, and I am the writer and publisher at Wanging Dude Publishing. Thank you so much for being a part of the channel. Please subscribe if you like these videos, and leave suggestions in the comments below if there's something that you would like to ask or want us to talk about, or anything that you want to talk about. Today, I wanted to share some stories with you in hopes that it will motivate you. I am fortunate that I did not have parents who complained about their age. And thus, as a child of those parents, I don't complain about my age. I embrace the fact I'm in my 50s. I look forward to being older. One of the reasons I started Wanging Dude Publishing was because it's something new. It's something I haven't tried. It's something I've always wanted to try. And here we are. So I see a lot of publications that dedicate time to the 30 under 30, the 20 under 20, wonderful things that younger people are doing, which is great. And that is a great motivator if you're that age. But if you're older, a lot of times you'll find society is not really saying, hey, congratulations on being in your 50s, or hey, congratulations on being 60 and 70 and 80. Like, it's almost like society's like, okay, well, you can wait to die over here and we'll just continue focusing on youth, which I think is completely unfair. I thought it was unfair back when I was young. But I wanted to share some stories of people who had done things when they were older. Like I said, I'm in my 50s, my mid 50s, starting a publishing company. Now, the first person I want to share with you is somebody you already know, is Colonel Sanders. If you've been to KFC, used to be Kentucky Fried Chicken, and they made it just KFC. People don't say Kentucky Fried Chicken anymore, but I remember after church we'd have the big buckets, and we'd get we'd fight over which style of chicken, which style of fried chicken we would get, and we had the sides and everything, and the gravy and the potatoes and the green beans and everything. And I just loved KFC. Well, did you know that Colonel Sanders, and let me check my notes, yes, 65. He didn't start KFC until he was 65 years old. And it wasn't until he was in his early 70s, like 73 years old, is when the franchise really took off. And then he later sold the company, making him a multimillionaire. But 65 years old is when he started that company. And so that's an example of what I'm talking about. Another person I wanted to tell you about is Duncan Hines. You've used Duncan Hines products, especially if you're a baker. You've used Duncan Hines. Well, Duncan Hines was actually a person, and that person was a food critic. So he critiqued other people's food until he started his own product line, and he was 73 when he did that. So Duncan Hines spent his career as a food critic doing a completely other profession, and at 73 started the Duncan Hines product line that I and you have benefited from. And the final one I wanted to tell you about was Anne Mary Roberts Moses. Now, she is a woman whose name may not be recognizable, but I love her story because she had never picked up a brush and paint or a canvas. She'd never done any kind of painting her whole life until she turned 78 years old. Pushing 80, she decided, well, okay, she's retired. She's got time on her hands. What am I going to do? I don't know her story, if she was always thinking about painting or it was just something on a whim, but she bought those paints and she bought the brushes and she painted every day for 25 years from 78 years old. And when she was painting, she shared with family and friends, she's just starting out, but eventually she started selling those paintings. And she became a millionaire because she would charge thousands of dollars for each painting and was able to make a large fortune from that. Now, the reason I love these stories, and there's plenty more out there that you can find, but the reason I love these stories is it shows you that if you have a goal, if you have a purpose in your life, then more than likely you're going to have a better life, regardless of how long you live. It's the quality of it. And I think that I love the fact that these people in retirement, or maybe they never retired and just decided to start something again, start fresh. Here they did it. I always thought that when people talk about midlife crisis, being middle-aged, midlife crisis, to me, midlife crisis is simply the end of the natural, pattern of what you had chosen when you were 18 or 21 or 25 or 30. I chose my career when I was really 17, 16, 17. Really, I wanted to do radio since I was 7, 8 years old. But I spent decades doing that. But then there was just a natural end to your time in morning radio. Like it's to me, that's a limited time that you can put that abuse on your body with the lack of sleep and the early hours and having to be up and out late at night. So there was a natural end to that. But then what? I left morning radio when I was in my 40s. So it's like, well, what am I going to do now? And I did spend several years just kind of trying to make a living in order to figure out what it is that I wanted to do. And then I decided to start Wanging Dude Publishing. I had a client once in my freelance time that told me or asked me the question, what is the richest place on earth? Gosh, and I thought, well, is it like the Taj Mahal or is it like Buckingham Palace or maybe some big grand place that, in a country I'm not familiar with a royalty I'm not familiar with? And so I'm racking my brain thinking, gosh, what is the richest place on earth? And he said, a cemetery. And I was like, a cemetery? And he said, because that is where all the unfulfilled dreams lay. He said, think of all the people that died and are buried and all the things that were buried with them that they never got to do and talked themselves out of doing. And that really struck me. So that's my challenge to you. I don't care how old you are because age really, I know here people say age is just a number, but with age comes a lot. When I was in my 20s and much more arrogant than I am today, I had motivation, I had goals, I had drive, I had energy. Um, but in my 50s, I have a lot more experience and I'm a little war torn, like I'm war ready, like I've been through things. And so I have seen cycles in life where in your 20s, I don't believe you've seen as many cycles in your life. So I see where things come and go and things have a beginning and an end, and that endings are not necessarily the worst thing in the world, where back in my 20s, it seemed like it was devastating. So that's my challenge to you. It doesn't matter how old you are. And if you're somebody who's in your 20s watching this, then great, then do something that you've always wanted to do. But if you're in your 70s watching this, do something you've always wanted to do. Don't talk yourself out of it. You're not too old, as the stories I just told you. So thank you so much for being a part of the channel. Live your dream. And if you are doing it, you end up doing it, you just want to share what it is, you want to network with each other, do so in the comments down below. And please subscribe for our next video. And I hope you have a great day and good luck with it. Get started. Do it right now. I'll see you next time.